New York Times bestselling author Michael Tougias will be offering a special presentation via Zoom through the Leesburg Public Library on JFK and the Florida U-2 pilots during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I always thought the Cuban Missile Crisis ended without any casualties or loss of life. And when the co-author and I came upon the story of Major Rudy Anderson, who was shot down by the Soviets over Cuba, that prompted us to tell Major Anderson's story. But also during the research, I uncovered 3 other little-known events that put us on the brink of nuclear war. So my subtitle for the presentation is The Untold Story of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Michael, who has written and co-authored 29 books, will be telling the untold story of the Cuban Missile Crisis and the ties it has with Florida.
There's several Florida connections. The biggest is that these U-2 spy planes that flew over Cuba during the crisis were at an airfield in Orlando. Of course, there was no Disney World, but McCoy Airfield, for the proximity to Cuba. And then there were more aircraft, not spy planes, but fighter jets way down at Key West, ready to go. And the third Florida connection is the U-2 pilot who I worked with, who flew over Cuba and narrowly missed being shot down. His name was Jerry McElmoyle. He was from Venice, Florida, and just recently passed away. And I dedicated the book to Jerry.
Michael sets the stage, telling us a little of what was going on leading up to the crisis.
Kennedy was just waking up on a Saturday morning and still in his pajamas when his aides came in and said, "We've got some bad news." The big buildup was the overthrow of Batista by Castro. So when Fidel Castro took over, we had a communist regime in Cuba, and obviously I'm not going into detail about all that. There were mistakes we made as well dealing with Castro. But when the U.S. launched the failed Bay of Pigs invasion, that's when the Soviets really started their military buildup. And interestingly, the Bay of Pigs was on Kennedy's watch. The plan was hatched under Eisenhower, but Kennedy made a lot of mistakes with that. And looking back, I think it was a blessing because he learned from those mistakes and he applied those lessons to the Cuban Missile Crisis. So anyways, the Soviets were building up their military and presence because of that failed invasion. And we knew they were, but we just didn't know that they were putting in offensive nuclear weapons. And they assured us they were not doing that.
During his presentation, Michael will delve into incidents where a U-2 pilot was fatally shot down and another one that was covered up.
I didn't know that, and I thought I knew a little bit about the Cuban Missile Crisis, so we dove in. And I realized that in my conversations, almost nobody knows that the Soviets shot down and killed Major Anderson. And that was on the 13th day, they call it Black Saturday. And everything went wrong that day. And so it really looked like nuclear war was about to break out. So we dove into, why was he shot down? How was he shot down? How did he die? How was Kennedy informed? What did Kennedy do? And that really is the apex of the book, this Black Saturday, when everything is going wrong.
The presentation takes place November 18th at 1 p.m. Registration is required by visiting LeesburgFlorida.gov/library.